Hello and welcome to News Today. Coming up, government assures metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies their statutory fund for the last quarter would hit the various accounts by close of day. On the foreign front, Kenyan president says his country will continue to militarily engage in Somalia following the assault on a Nairobi shopping mall by Somali militants. My name is Kemini Nyamani Amano. Over the next 60 minutes, I'll bring you details of these stories and plenty more. Do stay. Government has assured metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies that the statutory fund for the last quarter would hit their various accounts by the end of the week.
The common fund is definitely going to hit the account. In fact, some of them I understand have even got it in the account so far, because I spoke to somebody yesterday, and definitely by the end of by the close of the week, I believe all the MMDAs will have the monies in the account. The causes of delays, there are a whole lot of factors that has to be. We as MDA, we get the monies from the Ministry of Finance, and I think there were some few challenges at the ministry, so that might have caused the whole delay. I would not be able to, because it would not be something that I can say that this particular challenge has caused that, but I know there are some few challenges at that ministry that might have caused. We were in close chat with our sister ministry, trying to get the money through, and I believe as I talk to you now, they have got it. But if you talk about those who are saying that in Upper West people were going hiding, I want to say that it's not just the common fund, which is a source of funding to our MMDAs. We have other fundings as well that goes into the MMDAs. So if people keep on saying that nothing is going on and those stuff, we have the DDF as well, we have the IGF, we have other few funds that goes into development. So it brings a couple of questions, but I think as I talk to you, our MMDAs, they have their money. Those who don't have it may be a banking technical problem, but apart from that, they should all get it by the close of the week. When it comes to disbursement, all different municipalities get different, amount of money, because we put a whole lot of factors in.
Located at the center of the capital, Old Fadama, popularly known as Sodom and Gomorra in Accra, one of the country's biggest slums, has expanded its boundaries over the years. With over 85,600 residents, the huge number is a great strain on the housing system in the community. Fast to enjoy News Slum Dweller series, we take a look at shelter at Old Fadama and the struggle in finding a place to lay one's head.
As expected of Islam, houses at Old Fadama are mainly wooden structures. Small rooms, some without windows, accommodate more than 10 people. Walking through the community, it is easy to spot one-story wooden structures. In an apparent disregard for careful planning and demarcation, these structures are built close to each other, a situation that hinders fire personnel in cases of emergency. In an effort to ensure safety and prevent loss of properties to fire, leadership have encouraged residents to invest in concrete buildings.
After every fire outbreak, we encourage, if you are in the position, put up a concrete structure so that at least you'll be safe. We have been living in constant fear, anticipating to move out of the community someday. And therefore, initially, you will agree with me that it's not advisable to invest so much when you know one day you'll be leaving. So that is why people make do with the wooden structures. Your wall is another person's wall. There's the need for ventilation, but there's no way we can advise them to open up these windows. It's not possible because if you open, you are opening into another person's room.
Philip Kuma also dismissed perception that residents illegally connect electricity to their homes. He insisted all connections to the national grid was done by qualified ECG personnel.
Meters have been supplied, we buy, we pay, and use the light. Maybe the wiring is not that decent, so that is what will make you think that people are just doing illegal connection. But that is not the point at all.
Kwame Amuzu has lived here with his wife for the past 12 years. He has now pulled down his one-room wooden structure and is almost through with the construction of a one-bedroom block building. A mason himself, it has taken him 3 months to get to the plastering stage. And according to him, he has done everything possible to ensure the building is safe.
Me to blocks, Papa. So far, I issue blocks 270. Marco 270. And I cement and so wake at home, issue 10 bags. Say, me plaster her, me are not my ties for her. Nada be a carway ceiling. Yes, maybe. It's a share the minion and my boca bear 14 million. And to maybe be 16 million.
Like Amuzu, many of the residents put up their own buildings with the help of carpenters and masons in the community. Though residents are free to put up buildings if they have the means, the space available and nature of the structures do not allow for indoor plumbing. Aren't people allowed to build their own bathrooms in their rooms?
The point is that you will not get space for that. You will not get space for that. Like, if you can get space for that and it wouldn't affect the other people, no one cares, you can do it. But if you have to do it and this man comes out to say, no, this your bathroom is disturbing me, he has a right, he can report you to the opinion leaders, then they will bring you to the justice that no, they won't allow it, you better stop it and join the main bath out. Maybe the little space that you yourself may get to say you will use it to do, you will use it for different thing else. Because already you in your room, you are already congested.
Having spent the last 6 years in the community, Hassana Zakaria, a head porter who hails from Savelugu, tells Joy News she shares this room with 10 other girls.
You understand? They all lie down by line. Some will be like this, others will also be like this.
How is it for her? Is it comfortable?
What she's saying is that the 11 is even too small for them. The room is big more than the number that is living in, so they feel comfortable.
Climbing and descending the stairs to the upper room of this one-story wooden structure is not a difficult task for Hassana and her roommates. But I struggled my way up and down, fearing a fall. Adelaide Arthur for Joy News.
Hundreds of thousands of Muslims are arriving in Saudi Arabia to take part in this year's Hajj pilgrimage. Now, the last 5 batches of the pilgrims from Ghana are due to leave today, 2nd October. The 5-day pilgrimage is one of the pillars of Islam and is expected of able-bodied Muslims of both Sunni and Shiite sects at least once in their lifetime. The event expected to fall from 13th to 18th October this year combines piety and passion and sees pilgrims walk from Mecca to Mina to the plain of Arafat to stand near the Mount of Mercy and ask Allah for forgiveness. Muhammad Amin Lamte, Deputy Communications Director, Pilgrims Affairs, Hajj 2013, says they are satisfied with this year's reparations.
Relations of
going to get down to the last 5 slots that is going to come from NAS. NAS is an airline company in Saudi Arabia. They will start from tomorrow, Wednesday. So what we're going to do is that 5 flights, each flight would move for a day. So let's say Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. By Sunday, we should be wrapping up with the last 5 slots of this year's pilgrimage to Mecca. We are very excited that we have contract with these airline companies, and they have so far lived up to expectation. Even though we are done with Egypt Air regarding from Accra, Ghana to Saudi Arabia or Medina, we are yet to deal with them from Medina to Ghana, but we are home and dry regarding the way that kind of working relationship that we have with them. We are yet to test NAS, but historically we believe that NAS will also deliver. So far, so good.
Actually taking cola, NAS, which you are not supposed to take. It is something that is they have asked that it shouldn't be brought to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, but to the best of my knowledge, it's not taking cola nuts into Saudi Arabia is not an arrestable offense. So once they said we should not bring it, we want to make sure that the relationship is cordial. We go by the laws that they have, we should abide by their laws. So that is why we are actually making sure they don't carry the cola nuts. That we have put security measures in place. But the point is that even cocaine, which is an arrestable, carrying cocaine is an arrestable offense, but yet people go through with it. They are able to, it is not that the people see it and they allow it to go, but they are able to beat them. But once you beat them here, it doesn't mean that you beat them over there, right? So we have put measures in place to make sure that they don't carry them. But once they are able to go through here, they may not be able to go through over there. And some of them even go there. When they get there, they are able to go through.
Factions involved in the chieftaincy clashes at Diaso, a town in the Dunkwa and Ofen district of the Central Region, have been invited to the Regional House of Chiefs. The move by the Regional House of Chiefs comes after bloody clashes between two royal families on Monday. Security has been beefed up in Diaso since the clashes. Our correspondent Richard Kojonya has joined us over the telephone for an update on this meeting. Hello, Richard.
Hello.
What more can you tell us?
Well, before they were summoned to the Regional House of Chiefs, the service commanders who were dispatched by the Regional Police Commander also met the two factions, and they spoke at length about what has happened. And so they said that they should give peace a chance. Now, I also spoke with the president of the Central Regional House of Chiefs, Dasibre Kwebuowusi, and he said that the House of Chiefs is very angry that a matter that is before them should deteriorate into such an extent. And so he has summoned them, and he said that whoever is found culpable will be brought to book. And so he said that if it is a chieftaincy matter, and if it is a chieftaincy matter, it is only the House of Chiefs that has the prerogative to settle the matter. And so they told them not to go ahead with the installation process. And if any of the factions went ahead with the installation process, then the House of Chiefs would deal with that particular faction that did that.
The last time we spoke, you said security had been beefed up in the area. How about now?
Well, the security presence is still intact. They are there, and they've moved the place after.
Hello, Richard.
But
Richard, you're breaking away. Richard, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Please say again what you said about security. I'm not sure we got to that.
Well, I said that the security is still intact after the service commanders have met the two factions. They detailed their men to vantage points and asked them to man the places to ensure that calm finally returns to the place. And so the town has returned to normalcy, and everybody is going about his or her normal duty.
But are parties to this dispute satisfied with the stance of the House of Chiefs?
Well, for the House of Chiefs, their beef is that the case is due to be heard on the 26th of this month. And so they were waiting anxiously that day will come for the settlement to be done. But for the factions, any of them who flout that authority of the Regional House of Chiefs will find him or herself in some deep waters. And so that is what the House of Chiefs is saying. But the factions are troubled, and so they have some settlement to do with the House of Chiefs when they finally go there.
Thank you very much, Richard, for this update. Richard Kojonya is Joy News Central Regional Correspondent. And so we quickly move on to some other stories. Where the Director General of the Ghana Education Service, Benedicta Nana Baini, has tasked parents, school communities and the government as major stakeholders to join forces towards ensuring the the empowerment of the girl child in her pursuit of academic excellence. Speaking at the 2013 Girls Summer Camp in Takoradi in the Western region, she encouraged girls to also take their education seriously.
The Forum of Heads of Girls Senior High Schools, established about 5 years ago, is made up of headmistresses of all the 36 girls senior high schools in the country. It has the primary objectives of raising very high standard in the academic, moral and social lives of teenage girls. This year's meeting brought together some role models and motivational speakers to encourage the young ladies to aspire to higher heights. The headmistress of the Archbishop Potter Girls Senior High School, who is also the president of the Forum of Heads of Girls Senior High Schools, Louisa Constance Agri, encouraged the girls to aspire to higher heights.
FOX is the Forum of Heads of Girls Senior High Schools. It is made up of the visionary headmistresses of all the 36 senior high schools in the country, with the primary objective of raising very high standards in academic, moral and social lives of our teenage girls.
The Director General of the Ghana Education Service, Benedict Anana Baini, charged stakeholders to join forces towards ensuring the empowering of the girl child.
The head must ensure that the application of rules and regulation is across board on both the horizontal and vertical axis. This same leadership quality, by its application from the head, will obviously seep down into the administrative culture of the SLC, where students learn to take control of their own affairs.
The Western Regional Minister Ebenezer Kwejo Ado stated the government on his part will ensure that the basic needs of the girl child are provided.
To empower is to encourage, is to support, is to provide the needed facilities for that individual or institution or person to achieve a certain goal. And in order to resolve the problem of deprivation, the problem of a disadvantage, and so on, you will have to empower those who belong to that category.
The guest of honor, Dr. Wilhelmina Donko, also challenged the girls to rise above limitation to attain higher height in the society.
I hope that you were selected not just for academic excellence or being brilliant, but because you also demonstrated other qualities like leadership skills, organizational skills, and so on.
Now, some 130 police personnel, including 4 women, have begun a 30-day specialized training against terrorist attacks. The personnel drawn from the 11 police regions would also be equipped with skills for crowd control, protection of VIPs, strategies and special weapons and tactics, and the protection of vulnerable, among others. The Director General of Police Operations, COP John Kudula, said the increasing demand of the service for internal security called for more diverse, complex and specialized training. This is News Today. There's more news ahead. Don't go away. You're welcome back. Now, the Trades Union Congress is breathing down on government's neck to intervene in the recently increased utility tariffs. Electricity went up by 78.9%, while water went up by 52%. But the TUC is calling on government and the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission to stay the implementation of the new utility tariffs. The TUC argued that the increases in water and electricity tariffs do not commensurate with the 10% increase in salaries. It says the burden on consumers is worsened by fuel prices, which have also gone up 4 times already this year. The TUC is also accusing the PURC of doing government's bidding by not applying the automatic adjustment formula, which would have seen a rather gradual increase in tariffs. TUC General Secretary Kofi Asamoah told Joy News on Tuesday that the increases are just too high and everybody is crying. The Communications Minister, Edward Omane-Boamah, has disclosed that Ghana has signed an agreement with the International Telecommunications Union to set up a computer emergency response team to fight cybercrime in the country. The team, to be established by January 2014, will track all suspicious electronic mails and text messages received by Ghanaians and bring perpetrators to book.
The growth in the information technology sector in Ghana and Africa as a whole has been phenomenal. Africa's mobile market has grown twice as fast as the global market, and cellular subscribers is estimated to grow above 300 million by the end of this year. In Ghana alone, mobile subscriptions hit the 27,529,818th mark as at August 2013. To ensure sustainable development in the ICT industry, African stakeholders in the sector under the auspices of the ITU came together to share knowledge and experience ranging from broadband sustainability to creating a safer cyberspace.
What kind of policies, what kind of national broadband policies, what kind of legal frameworks are actually suitable for Africa. We'll turn that around and say, okay, so what are we going to do about it? The next 2-3 days are going to be discussing what Africa's priorities in terms of telecommunications and ICT should be for the next cycle of 4 years.
For Ghana, apart from the construction of a national terrestrial 780-kilometer optic fiber network to boost the broadband capacity, deployment of the LTE technology and the migration from analog television to digital broadcasting, other measures are underway to strengthen the sector.
Ghana has an agreement with the International Telecommunications Union to set up a computer emergency response team. It is our belief that by January 2014, when we have established our computer emergency response team, as a result of the rich lessons that we are going to learn from this, if someone received a suspicious email or text message that you have won, let's say 1 million Ghana cedis or $1 million, and you didn't know what to do, there will be a center where you can place a phone call or you can send an email just to seek advice on what to do and what not to do.
The two-day conference, meanwhile, is also for Africa to prepare at the regional level for the next World Telecommunication Development Conference to be hosted by the region.
Japan's Prime Minister Shinzo Abe said his government will raise the rate of sales tax to 8% from 1st April next year from the current 5%. Policymakers have argued that the hike is key to reducing Japan's public debt, which now stands as around 230% of its gross domestic products. Now, there have been concerns that such a move may hurt domestic demand. However, analysts said recent data showing signs of a recovery in the economy had helped allay those fears. Legislation passed by Abe's predecessor last year had called for the rates to be raised. The government needs to increase its revenue as it looks to fund raising welfare costs driven by an aging population. News Stars head coach Kwesi Appiah yesterday named the 25-man squad for the double-legged final qualifier to the 2014 FIFA World Cup in Brazil. The LSC's veteran goalkeeper Richard Kingston, prodigal midfielder Sule Ali Muntari and Turkey-based defender Jeria Kaminko all making a return to the team.
Coach Kwesi Appiah has named a strong squad for the World Cup playoff first leg clash against Egypt, with a number of experienced names recalled to the 25-man team. Veteran goalkeeper Richard Kingston, who hasn't played for the Black Stars for 2 years, returns to the setup. The 35-year-old had spells with Wigan Athletic and Blackpool before spending 2 years out of the game. Other big players returning to the squad include AC Milan midfielder Sally Montari, Jordan Ayew, Jerry Akaminko and Arsenal youngster Emmanuel Frimpong ahead of the crucial first leg tie in Ghana on Tuesday the 15th of October.
There will be midweek action in the Ghana Premier League this afternoon at all 8 league centres across the country. The fixtures will be week 4 of the 2013-2014 season. Here are the matches to expect later today. Right, and so there is Hasselfolk against the Hasakas. There's Dubiase FC facing Inter Allies, as well as Faisal's facing Ash Gold. Amidal's Professionals will be going against Liberty. Midiama SC against House of Lions. Dwarfs against Brekum Chelsea. Adriana Stars will go against Bechem United, while Wa All Stars will face Kotoko. There was Champions League action also yesterday in Europe, which saw Barcelona, Chelsea and Arsenal all winning their games. Here are some highlights of some matches. And Real Madrid would take FC Copenhagen, and the Lights would take Olympiacos. Paris Saint-Germain would take Benfica, and Moscow would take Victoria, and Manchester City will go against Bayern München. Jamaican sprinters Usain Bolt and Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price have been shortlisted among 10 male and 10 female athletes for the 2013 World Athletes of the Year award. The IAAF announced yesterday that an email poll involving the World Athletics family has begun and will close at midnight on Sunday, October 27.
Champions Usain Bolt of Jamaica and Mo Farah of Britain have both been named among those on the 10-man shortlist for the IAAF World Athlete of the Year award. Both men starred at the recent World Athletics Championships in Moscow, where Bolt won gold in the 100 and 200 meters and Farah clinched a rare 5,000 and 10,000 meter double.
That's it for the segment. You're still watching news today. On the international front, Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta has said the country will remain militarily engaged in Somalia following the assault on a Nairobi shopping mall by Somali militants as investigators continued piecing information together on the Westgate shopping mall siege that killed more than 60 people. Kenyatta addressed an interfaith prayer service in the capital, joining the country's political and religious leadership to pray for unity and strength in the aftermath of the September 21 attack. Those responsible for the attack, he said, have failed in their efforts to divide the nation. Somali-based militant group Al-Shabaab claimed responsibility for the siege, calling it retaliation for Kenya's ongoing military operations in southern Somalia. Kenyan forces entered the country in 2011 in response to a spate of cross-border attacks and kidnappings blamed on Al-Shabaab. Kenyatta said Kenyan forces would remain in Somalia until the job is done. Kenya security agencies have been under fire for a lack of coordination during the first few days of the siege, and mall shop owners accused police and armed forces of looting during security operations. The government says 5 assailants died during the fight, but the bodies have not yet been recovered. In the United States, the standoff that has shut down non-essential government operations is showing no signs of resolutions as the shutdown entered its second day on Wednesday. Republicans and Democrats in Congress were still blaming each other, and many Americans were blaming them all.
And we know that the longer this shutdown continues, the worse the effects will be. More families will be hurt, more businesses will be harmed. So once again, I urge House Republicans to reopen the government, restart the services Americans depend on, and allow the public servants who have been sent home to return to work. This is only going to happen when Republicans realize they don't get to hold the entire economy hostage over ideological demands. As I've said repeatedly, I am prepared to work with Democrats and Republicans to do the things we need to do to grow the economy and create jobs and get our fiscal house in order over the long run. Although I should add, this shutdown isn't about deficits or spending or budgets. After all, our deficits are falling at the fastest pace in 50 years. Congress doesn't just have to end this shutdown and reopen the government. Congress generally has to stop governing by crisis. They have to break this habit. It is a drag on the economy. It is not worthy of this country.
Our country has big problems. Today, our government has big problems. The only way these problems are going to be resolved if we sit down amicably and keep the American people in mind and come to an agreement.
The International Criminal Court has made public an arrest warrant for Ivorian ex-minister Charles Blé Good over war crimes allegations. He is wanted by the ICC for alleged crimes against humanity during violence which erupted following disputed elections in Ivory Coast in 2010. Blé has denied leading pro-Gbagbo militia in violent attacks. The arrest warrant issued in December 2011, only now made public, describes Blé as a member of Gbagbo's inner circle. The ICC said the 40-year-old currently detained in Ivory Coast is suspected of murder, rape, persecution and other inhuman acts committed between December 2010 and April 2011. In faraway Greece, the head of far-right Golden Dawn party, Nikos Michaloliakos, is to appear in court to answer charges of organizing a criminal group. He was one of 6 MPs arrested over the weekend amid outrage over the recent murder of an anti-racist musician. 3 of the detained MPs have been freed on bail, while a 4th was remanded in custody. All 4 denied the charges against them during a marathon court hearing in Athens. The fact that 3 were freed on bail will raise questions over how watertight the government's case against them actually is. Reports indicates that in all 22 people were detained following the 18 September murder of Pavlos Fyssas. Silvio Berlusconi has performed a U-turn in an Italian no-confidence vote and says he will now support the government. It was Berlusconi's demand that 5 ministers from his center-right People of Freedom party leave the government that had brought the vote. But it became clear that several of his senators would vote for the government. Prime Minister Enrico Letta had earlier said that if he were defeated in the vote, it might prove fatal for Italy. That's all for international news. Now let's do some showbiz. And they denied it when speculations were rife that they were splitting. But eventually, one of them has left. Promzi, we understand, has left the VIP group. But then also, the remaining 2 in the group tell us Terry G will now be part of VIP.
Vision in Progress VIP started as a music group in the early 90s, and it's made up of Abdul Hamidu Ibrahim, known as Lazy, Emmanuel Abebio, known as Promzi, and Joseph Nanofori, known as Prodigal, and it initially also included Bone and Friction. As a group, they easily embodied the greatness and perseverance that reflected a tough, unforgiving, and ambitious ghetto life. When news broke that the group was faced with a split situation, there was denial, probably because they hoped it wouldn't happen. But reports out indicate that Emmanuel Abebio, also known as Promzi, has gone his separate way. According to Promzi, his reason for leaving the group is personal. But the question is, Why would Promze leave such a successful group that has swept numerous awards over the years and still has the potential to win more? Showbiz will be nosing around to bring you the beyond personal reasons that may exist. Keep watching this space.
That's it for the hour. A reminder of our headlines. Government assures metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies their statutory fund should hit their various accounts by close of day. On the foreign front, Kenyan president says his country will continue to militarily engage in Somalia following the assault on a Nairobi shopping mall by Somali militants. Totally grateful for your company. Do same tomorrow. In the meantime, stay on for the rest of our programs. My name is Kimini Nyamani. Amana. Goodbye.